Situated in the Caribbean, the island of Hispaniola is part of the Greater Antilles archipelago. Christopher Columbus landed here during his first voyage when he discovered the Americas in 1492. The island is shared by two countries, Haiti and the Dominican Republic. About a third of the Dominican Republic's population of 9 million live in and around the capital, Santo Domingo. Founded in 1498, the city became the site of the first cathedral, university, and hospital in the New World. When it comes to the country's sporting development, much of it is based around the Juan Pablo Duarte Olympic Center. Named after one of the founding fathers of the Republic, the center was the host venue for the 2003 Pan American Games. That year, the women's volleyball team won gold, their greatest success to date. Currently ranked 8th in the world, the Dominican Republic appears to be one of the game's growing forces. Marcos Kvyek, who's from Brazil, took over as head coach in 2008.
For me, professionally, it was a very interesting project. When I took over, the team was already strong and had enormous potential. When I saw just how talented the players were, I knew that if we worked hard, we could achieve great things. And it was just incredibly exciting. It fascinated me to see this wealth of talent and the determination to improve.
But it's not all good news. Surprisingly, there's no volleyball league in the Dominican Republic. National champions are crowned after playing short tournaments rather than whole seasons. Although this allows Marcos to work with the team 5 or 6 times a week, it also means that players who get the chance to play overseas often do so. Priscilla Rivera has played in Spain, Puerto Rico and Azerbaijan.
Of course it affects our game. Training is very important, but competing is even more important because it helps you keep your rhythm and improve your teamwork. I would say that we are more of a tournament team. We grow as the event goes on. With regard to our game, I think we lack that rhythm of playing regular league matches every weekend. We lack that kind of continuity that could help us to really stand out as a team.
We are dealing with two different situations here, and we have to make the most of what we've got. On one hand, our players end up physically well prepared, injury-free and technically better. But on the other hand, the main disadvantage is the lack of regular match action, because that's where you learn the most. It's a real problem for us, but the country is having major financial difficulties.
Developing talent from an early age is a challenge because the cash-strapped federation can't cover the costs. Most of the financial support comes from the pockets of Cristobal Marte, the vice president of the federation and director of women's volleyball. The current system relies heavily on the support of a group of passionate advocates of women's volleyball. Marte is joined in his efforts by coach Ricardo Arias and his wife, former international Mayo Sibilla. The couple have been supporting and developing talented players from all corners of the country since the 1970s.
There's no proper scouting system in place to search for talented players. We simply don't have the power to change this because that's up to the federation. But the federation is mainly interested in volleyball as a sport for the masses. What we need is a more competitive environment. We need a high-performance centre.
Ricardo and Mayo used to put up girls from outlying provinces in their own home, but these days they stay in accommodation next to the volleyball centre.
There are a total of 32 provinces in the country. We all come here with the chance of changing our lives and making something of ourselves. Most of us from the provinces come from very poor villages. Cristobal Marte helps with absolutely everything. He not only helps us with our education and with the training, but also with our food. I can only recommend all this to any girl who has the desire to come and train here. This is a fantastic opportunity.
Head coach Marcos's strategy is to integrate players into the elite team from an early age. 16-year-old Bren Martinez is already 1.95 meters tall. At this year's North America, Central America and Caribbean Girls Youth Championships, Bren stood out as the event's top scorer. The Dominicans finished second in the championships, behind the United States.
Bren has a great future ahead of her. She is very talented. She's like a raw diamond, and she's still developing. That's why I started to bring her into the main team. I wanted to give her the chance to experience playing in big tournaments. I'm sure this will have a positive effect on the youth and junior teams. She's a role model and young girls already look up to her. She's a key player on the junior team. But at the same time, she knows she can't possibly play on her own.
Bren lives in Villajuana, not far from the Olympic Center, where she shares a small one-bedroom flat with her mother and younger sister Hineri.
I was only 11 when I started playing volleyball. Even then, I was quite tall. But you wouldn't have thought that I would grow this tall. Playing was a little uncomfortable at first, and I wasn't sure how much I liked it. But then, I really started to get into volleyball. And thanks to my height, they quickly moved me up to a higher level.
Nothing I do feels like a sacrifice to me, because I think that being there for your child is every mother's duty. We should all be responsible for our children's future, so it's my responsibility. Every afternoon I take my daughters to the Olympic Center. Sometimes I stay there and wait until they finish their practice, and then we return home together. Of course you have to make sacrifices, but I do make every possible effort to support my children.
Kwiatek wants to compensate for the absence of weekly league matches by creating strong competition amongst his players. Rather than the usual 12, he aims to have at least 18 players in his squad. That way, everybody has to fight hard for their chance to make the starting lineup. This has proved to be quite a successful formula. The Dominican Republic finished 5th at this year's Olympics, and the average age of the team was only 25.
The team that played in London is the same team we're building for the Games in Rio 2016. The Rio Games was always our goal, but we managed to qualify for the London Olympics, so we were well ahead of schedule. This is our squad for the 2016 Games. Being able to compete in London was like a special bonus for us. We worked very hard for it. The girls really gave it their all. It's still a very young team, but at the same time, they're already very experienced.